The loneliness of the goalkeeper, his separateness and his isolation, has always been one of the recurring themes of football. The goalkeeper is praised for his courage and adored for his eccentricity, but his main purpose in the psyche of the game has always been as someone to blame. After the manager, he is the go-to guy when we need a scapegoat. That syndrome is at its height in major tournaments. Peter Bonetti was singled out by many for England's exit in the 1970 World Cup. David Seaman let a Ronaldinho free kick sail over his head when we were knocked out by Brazil in 2002. Rob Green's mistake in the opening game against the USA set the tone for a miserable 2010 World Cup in South Africa. The goalkeeper rarely comes to attention when he does things right. Only when he does things wrong, although the consistent brilliance of someone like David De Gea means there will be exceptions. Unlike the rest of the team, he is there to save, not to create. He is there to stop something, not start it. At the heart of the idea of the keeper's nobility is the thought that he takes the blows but he cannot hand them out. So it is a measure of the way football is evolving that the battle to succeed Joe Hart's England goalkeeper took a decisive turn in Amsterdam on Friday night, not because Jordan Pickford made a fantastic save, but because he ran over from the edge of his area to sweep up a loose ball, took a touch to take it away from an attacker and then played it to John Stones. In former times, a keeper, particularly an England keeper, would have hoofed a clearance upfield or launched it towards Rosie. But Pickford eschewed both those options. He did not make it feel as if what he was doing was risky. He was calm and composed. He was aware of the outfield players around him. He wanted his team to keep possession, not to surrender it. So he played the ball to Stones. Stones stroked it short to Jordan Henderson. Henderson found Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, who burst forward and picked out the run of Jesse Lingard. Lingard spread it to Danny Rose and, when Rose's cross cannoned off a defender and rolled to the edge of the area, Lingard rifled it in. It felt like a eureka moment. For England at least. The role of the goalkeeper moved on a few years ago when Manuel Neuer popularized the sweeper-keeper style of play, but Pep Guardiola took things a stage further with his insistence that his goalkeeper should be an active contributor to outfield play. Hart was sacrificed for that principle. Remember how Guardiola was ridiculed for that when he first arrived at Manchester City? Remember how people said it would never work in English football? Then he bought Ederson and everyone saw the light. "I'm sorry," said Guardiola, when he was being deluged with criticism, "but until my last day as a coach, I will try to play for my goalkeeper." 24. Pickford would be England's youngest World Cup goalkeeper, younger than Paul Robinson, 2006, and Ron Spingat, 1962, both 26. On a night of quiet encouragement for England and their manager, Gareth Southgate, Pickford's moment of composure was the most significant snapshot of all. It was a symbol of a team starting to trust itself with the ball. It was vindication of a policy of picking players who are comfortable in possession. It felt scarily like progress. Southgate's England are still very much a developing team, and this World Cup in Russia may come too soon for them to make any real impact, but it was still encouraging to see a goalkeeper and his backline with the remit and technical ability to pass the ball out from defense and keep possession under pressure. Getting to this point is a product of difficult decisions made by the manager. When he left Chris Smalling, then Manchester United's first-choice central defender, out of the squad, some eyebrows were raised. But Smalling did not fit the way Southgate wanted to play. He had a clear vision of what he wanted to do and he stuck to it. The young defenders coming through have a different skill set, with the clubs they are playing with encouraging them to play that way, said Southgate after the game in Amsterdam. "It really allows us to adopt a different mentality. I was really pleased with the composure they showed. We picked specific players in the squad to do that. From the goalkeeper right the way through the team, they played with a real confidence and enjoyed the ball. If you can play with composure and play through and out of pressure, it slackens off the opposition in terms of their pressure and eventually they stop running and you have more time in different areas of the field." The profile of goalkeeper and defense allowed us to do that. It was a good night for Jordan. He transferred what we know he can do into an important game. After the game, Pickford spoke to reporters outside the changing rooms. He did not shy away from taking responsibility answering questions, either. He is 24 and a confident lad. But not too confident. Just someone who has a great talent and a hunger to improve. I asked him about his part in England's winner and he talked about the mindset of the keeper as outfielder. "As long as you are calm and composed and you can hear the lads talking to you, that's the main thing," he said. "I've just checked over my shoulder and I saw John Stones and Hendo in the middle of the pitch, so I just played it inside." It's about game management and, as long as you do it at the right times, it's okay. You have to be confident on the ball as a goalkeeper now. It's play when you can play and, if it's not on, don't make the wrong decision. Pickford made all the right decisions at the Johan Cruyff Arena. His performance has put him in pole position to be England's #1 in Russia. Jack Butland's audition is up next against Italy on Tuesday. Whoever gets the nod will be part of a new generation of goalkeepers who are not as separate as they were. In the modern game, we are all creators now. Dear Zlatan, this is LA, who are you exactly? Zlatan Ibrahimovic is one of football's great showmen, but his self-reverence is starting to wear a little bit thin. He greeted his own arrival at the LA Galaxy by taking out a full-page advert in the LA Times with the message, "Dear Los Angeles, you're welcome." For all the advances that football is making in the US, I fear for Zlatan a little. He may soon discover that, although he is a legend in his own mind, his position in the American consciousness may be a little less secure. Dear Zlatan, you're who? The failure of Manchester United to create a women's team has been a symbol of the club's lack of vision in recent years. The announcement that they have applied to field a side in what will be the Women's Championship, the second tier of the game, from next season is a sign that at last perspectives may be broadening. Better late than never.